So this morning, I would love to wish all Jews around the world a happy Hanukkah, but it is not a happy Hanukkah. Because Israel's enemies, Zion's enemies, have chosen to target Jews around Hanukkah. But there's something more sinister going on here, and I have been making accusations against the greater countries of this world for a long time for inviting terrorists into their country for the purpose of targeting Jews. Yeah, I said that. I'm making that accusation. And this time that accusation goes out to Australia. So, a father and son are suspected by officials to have killed 15 people on a popular Australian beach. And when I keep reading, you're going to come to the same conclusion as I am. Shocking a country where gun violence is rare. And they took the right to bear arms in Australia away. So only a few people, a licensed whatever. Now look who they license. The government on Monday, a day after the shooting, proposed tougher new gun laws and criticisms that officials didn't take seriously enough a string of anti-Semitic attacks. Yes, these governments, they want incidents like this to happen in order to justify further gun control in their countries. So they license terrorists, whether deliberately or not. This is what they do. And this is deliberate. I'm accusing the Australian government of deliberately licensing firearms to immigrants that hate Zionism, that hate Jews, that hate the state of Israel. This is deliberate. So this whole incident is squarely on the shoulders and on the heads of the Australian government. Here's a look at what to know from the attack at Bondi Beach. The suspects attacked a Jewish beachside gathering. Little is known about the suspects in the attack on Sydney's famous Bondi Beach, but there is widespread shock when officials said that the two men pictured in firing weapons on social media videos were related. The 50-year-old father who was killed arrived in Australia in 1998 on a student visa, authorities said, and was an Australian resident when he died. Was he a citizen? No. Officials wouldn't confirm what country he migrated from, but I'm going to show you today what country he migrated from. His Australian-born son, who was shot and wounded, is being treated at a hospital. The target was a Hanukkah celebration where hundreds have gathered together to celebrate the first day of the 8-day Jewish holiday. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called it an act of anti-Semitic terrorism. Well, I'm telling the Premier, the Prime Minister of Australia, that he and his government are party to this terrorist crime, as many host countries are. Albanese said Australia's main domestic spy agency, the Australian Security Intelligence Agency, had investigated the son for 6 months in 2019. You knew it was coming. Yes, you did. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reported that the agency had examined the son's ties to a Sydney-based Islamic State group cell. So why didn't you send them out of the country? I know why. Because they are useful to you to promote your gun control agenda. Because you see, the governments of this world are afraid of a people who hold them accountable. Albanese did not describe the associates, but said that the spy agency was interested in them rather than the Sun. Of course not. Of course they were not interested in the Sun, what the Sun was doing. Because they had another agenda. The dead included a 10-year-old girl, a rabbi, and a Holocaust survivor. Dozens of others were injured, some seriously. Police said the father held a firearms license and that he was a member of a gun club, which suggests that he was a target shooter. Ain't that something, though? Here in the United States, where you have the Second Amendment, it is well noted it is for American citizens. This fellow was not an Australian citizen, yet he was able to get a license as a non-citizen in a country where citizens are not allowed to have guns. So where is this guy from? Australian government does not want you to know. So suspicion falls on Iran for Bondi Beach terror. The Sydney terror attack may have been carried out by an Iranian-backed foreign terror cell, Israeli authorities believe. That's right, folks. What the Australian government does not want you to know, Israeli government will tell you. Officials cited Iran as a primary suspect and said possible links to groups including Hezbollah, Hamas, and Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba were also being investigated, according to Israeli media reports. Australian officials have not publicly confirmed any foreign involvement in the atrocity. The Australian government is hiding the information because they are culpable. Now, folks, the West, Western peoples, and Australia is included in them because it is a British Commonwealth, they encourage this kind of behavior. I'll give you an example. Iceland becomes the 5th country to boycott Eurovision. Why are they boycotting Eurovision? Why, pray tell, would it do such a thing? Iceland has joined Spain, Ireland, Slovenia, and the Netherlands in saying it will boycott the 2026 Eurovision Song Contest. Why? All 5 countries have withdrawn after Israel's participation in the competition was officially confirmed last week. Yes, Western nations encourage this kind of behavior against the Jews by doing this. By boycotting Israel. And yet, while at the same time, they allow terrorists to come in their countries and target Jews. Yet, they don't want to have anything to do with Zionism. Zionism, that is not just an idea, that is a fact that all Israel shall be saved in Mount Zion. It is, as they say, Old Testament doctrine and New Testament doctrine. I will show you proof. All right? Yoel 2 in the prophets he's talking about children of Zion here. All right? Understand that that's what this means. Children of Zion, meaning Zionists. In the after part, in the following part, I will pour out my ruach, not upon all flesh, but upon flesh of your sons and your daughters. And they shall prophesy, and your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. Who? Who? The children of Zion. I will show the wonders in the sky. That wonder begins, the great wonder of salvation begins with the extreme meteor shower falling from the sky onto the earth around the abyssal zones of the Mediterranean Sea and possibly other places. It's written in Scripture. It's written in Revelation 9, in the very first verses. In the earth, blood, fire, and palm-like columns of smoke. Yes, nuclear weapons will be launched as a result 5 months later. That's also written in Revelation 9. The sun will be turned into darkness and the moon into blood, facing the great and terrible day of who? Not the Lord, Yehovah. Comes. Now, I'm going to go to a passage in Psalm, but I'm going to do this first. It will come. It doesn't say it will come to pass. It says, proclaim Shem Yehovah, or proclaiming the name Yehovah, shall be delivered, shall slip away in Mount Zion. Jerusalem shall be deliverance, because Mount Zion and Jerusalem shall be deliverance. So salvation, deliverance, escape, and Zionism go hand in hand. One cannot be without the other. As Yehovah has said, in the remnant, the survivors, that Yehovah will call. This is mentioned many, many times. Now, we go to New Testament doctrine, as they say, the one that Christians hate. This is probably the scripture that Christians hate the most, because they avoid it. It is their kryptonite, so to speak. Hey, come on now. So Paul spends the entire chapter disputing with the Romans over their beliefs concerning Israel and salvation. In this whole chapter, he is disputing with them. And down here, he is telling them, I would not, brethren, Romans, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits. That partial blindness happened to Israel until, it says, the fullness of the Gentiles comes, goes. Now, if you go and I believe it's Luke 21, not sure, it says when the times of the Gentiles comes to the end. So all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer who will turn away unrighteousness from Jacob. You cannot have salvation without Zionism. No Zionism, no salvation. Furthermore, let's look at this. Salvation, watch this, is, now, King James Version puts of the Jews, but I'm going to show you the truth. Yochanan 4:22. Well, it was supposed to go there. Well, I guess I'll go there manually. Now, is the Mashiach's name Jesus? No, it's not. Never was, never shall be. The name is Yehoshua. Doesn't sound like Jesus, does not have the same meaning as Jesus. Yehoshua means Yehovah is salvation. Remember, there is no salvation without Zion. He said unto her, Woman, believe me, that the hour comes that you shall neither in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Abba. Well, that time is about over. You worship what you know not. We, the Jews, know what we worship because salvation is what? The word that King James Version translated from ek or ex in Greek means out, of, from, by, means, in other words, every way you can think of. From out of and to. That means to the Jews. Salvation comes out of the Jews and it comes to the Jews. It is for the Jews. It is one of the most under-translated and therefore mistranslated Greek propositions, and it's deliberately mistranslated because Christians do not believe in Zionism. If they did, all Jews and all Zionists, near and far, would be living in the Middle East right now. But instead, Western nations have chosen to forcibly keep Israel, Jews, Zionists all around the world in their home countries, and have invited terrorists to come in and target practice on the Jews. This is what they have done. And let's not forget, right here in the United States, first of all, to all the Jews out there, it does not do you any good to be an atheist just because the Holocaust happened. Does not, because you're still going to be a target. Rob Reiner and his wife are no exception. It does not take a genius to figure out what happened to them yesterday. Yes, Western countries have deliberately held Jews and Zionists hostage in their home countries, allowing terrorists that they have invited into their countries to target practice against the Jews. This is what they've done. There's no other way to say it. And because of that, each and every one of these countries are liable and guilty of murder, of genocide. If you don't believe that Western countries have been inviting terrorists into their countries for years, just take a look at what the United States is trying to do right now. Trying to reverse all that. But there is a Hanukkah happy ending, folks. First, we're going to go to Psalm 68. To the chief musician, a psalm or a song of David. Elohim will arise, and his enemies will be scattered. Let them that hate him run away from him. A smoke is driven away. A smoke is to drive asunder. So a great smoke is coming to drive them away. As wax melts before the fire, so let the wicked perish at the presence of Elohim, not God. But let the righteous be glad, and let them rejoice before Elohim. Yes, let them exceedingly rejoice. Well, if you are not a Zionist, you are not the righteous. You're not righteous. I just proven to you Zionism is salvation. Salvation is Zionism. Sing to Elohim, sing praises to his name, extol him that rides in the steppes, in the desert, in Arabah, in the desert plains. His name, Yah, and rejoice before him. Now this is a short version of his name. It is not J-A-H. It is, the short version is like Iyah. It is a contraction from It's not Yahweh. I've already proven that. You always want to put the J in front. That is incorrect. It's Yehovah. And this is another way to say Yehovah. Yehovah. Okay? But it's the same name. It's not a different name. And rejoice before him. An Ab to the orphans, a judge for the widow, Elohim in his Kodesh habitation. What is his Kodesh habitation? It is Mount Zion. We just read in Yoel 3 that deliverance is going to be in Mount Zion, Jerusalem. He sets up the solitary, the alone people. The people who are by themselves in a house. And he brings out those which are bound with chains. But the rebellious will dwell in a dry land. Yes, because according to Revelation 11, there is going to be 3.5 years of no rain upon the earth. It is going to be very, very dry. Elohim, when you went forth before your people, and you did march through the wilderness Selah, the earth shook and the heavens dripped. Yes, there was a mist. Moisture was there in his presence. Water. Even Sinai itself. Let's see what it says here. Faced Jehovah. Elohim of Israel. Elohim sent plenty of rain, whereby you did confirm your inheritance when it was weary. The congregation had dwelt therein. Elohim had prepared your goodness for the poor. Adonai gave the word, and great was the company of those that published it, to bear tidings. Kings of armies fled, retreated. And those at home divided the spoil. Yes, the people who didn't retreat, aka the Jews, divided the spoil. And that is also written in Zechariah 14. Lie down among the pots, the wings of a dove covered with silver and her feathers with yellow gold. When Shaddai scattered kings in it, it was white as snow in Zalmon. Oh, look at what we have here, folks. Let's look at this word. Oh, it is going to be snowing in Zalmon. So we know when he comes and scatters the kings, it's going to be wintertime. You know what else happens in the wintertime? Hanukkah. So you already now, every one of you that have watched this video, you now know there is a narrower timeline when Shaddai scatters kings. It will be snowing in Zalmon. the hill of Elohim, the hill country of Bashan, the high hill, the hill of Bashan. It's going to be snowing in Bashan. Let's look it up. Let's see if we can get some pictures. We can see, well, if I can get this to pull up, I don't know how many times I got to click it. Okay. It's right up in here. Northern Israel and southern Syria. It's going to be snowing. Now, Zalmon. Location. Near ancient Shechem, possibly part of Mount Ebal. A wooded height where Abimelech cut the branches to set fire to Shechem. It is often identified as a slope of Mount Ebal. So we'll go to Mount Ebal. All right, we're getting closer. I'm trying to get a map. Is this going to show me, I don't know if it's going to show that to me here or not. Right. Where is it? Is it here? Shechem. All right. All right, so Mount Ebal. Now, hold on, wait a minute, look at this. Right here, Mount Ebal. Or another mountain nearby. All right. The Valley of Megiddo. Valley sits in between two mountains, right? Watch this here. Okay. Sits between, let's see here. Images, try that again. The Jezreel Valley. That's where, so that's what that is the Megiddo Valley and the Jezreel Valley. And they quote unquote say Armageddon, right? So, let's try to find it again. I do believe that Megiddo Valley sits in between the two mountains. Well, I don't know what's going on here. Nothing happened here. Well, okay. See if that works. The valley that sits between Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim is the Vale of Shechem, or the Nablus Valley, where the ancient city of Shechem, modern Nablus. This is a different geographical location from the Megiddo Valley, also known as the Jezreel Valley. Okay. Which is located in northern Israel, overlooking the ancient city of Tel Megiddo. So, Okay, so it's going to, while there is a slaughter in the Megiddo Valley, there is going to be snow on Mount Ebal near the Megiddo Valley, is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so don't want to get stray too far off subject here. Okay, where was I? I was at, what happened? Psalm 68. So this information we have so far. So we know it's going to be snowing in Zalmon. Why leap you, you high hills? Because there's an earthquake. This hill which Elohim desired to dwell in, yes, Yehovah, that's his name, will dwell in it forever. The chariots of Elohim are 10,000 of messengers. Adonai is among them. In Sinai, the holy place, you have ascended on high, and you have led the captivity, you have led captive, taken captive, and receive gifts of men for rebellion, also that Yah Elohim might dwell among them. Blessed Adonai, who daily loaded us with benefits, ale of our salvation. Remember, folks, salvation and Zionism are one and the same. They cannot be extricated from each other. Ale, the ale of salvation. Yehovah, Adonai, escape from death. So he's going to cause his people to escape from death. He will wound the head of his enemies. Or, let's look at the word. He will pierce through, strike through, shatter, crush through the head of his enemies. Who are his enemies? Take a look around. They're everywhere. Western nations who host Israel's enemies in order for Jews to be targets around Hanukkah are equally guilty. And the hair, crown of his head on those who still trespass. Adonai will bring, he will return from Bashan and bring my people again from the Mediterranean Sea and beyond. Your foot will be dipped in the blood of your enemies, and the tongue of the dogs the same. The dogs of Israel will also be dipped in blood of the enemies. They have seen my going. Elohim, the going of El, my king in the sanctuary. The singers went before, and the players on instruments followed after them were the damsels playing with the tambourines. There is little Benjamin with their ruler, and the princes of Yehuda, and their council, and the princes of Zebulun, and the princes of Naphtali. Elohim has commanded your strength. Strengthen, Elohim, that which you have made for us. The palace at Jerusalem shall kings bring presents unto you. Rebuke the company of the spearmen, the multitude of the bulls with the calves of the people, till every one submits himself with pieces of silver. Scatter you the people who delight in war. Princes shall come out of Egypt. Ethiopia will quickly rush, stretch out their hands unto Elohim. Yes, the black folks in Africa will quickly run with their hands stretched out unto Elohim. Sing unto Elohim, ye kingdoms of the earth. Sing praises to Adonai, to him that rides upon the sky of the sky. The sky of the sky, which were of old. He sends out his voice, and that is a mighty voice. Set forth your strength, Elohim, your excellency over Israel, and strength in the cloud. Elohim, frightening out of your holy place, Ale of Israel. He that gives strength and power unto his people, blessed be him. Now, we know by this particular passage it will happen when it is snowing on Mount Ebal and in the nearby mountains of Bashan. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Hanukkah chapter. That's right. Haggai. Haggai 2. This is at the time when they were rebuilding the second temple. And for those of you who think that a third temple must be rebuilt, let me remind you that Herod built the third temple. In the 7th month, in the 21st day of the month, came the word of Yehovah by the prophet Haggai, saying, Speak unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Yehuda, and to not Joshua, but Yehoshua. You see that? The son of Jehozadak, the high priest, and to the rest of the people, saying, Who is left among you that saw this house in her first glory? How do you see it now? Okay? And in your eyes, it's a comparison as nothing. And so he's exhorting them to rebuild the second temple. But this occurred before Hanukkah took place, and the story of Hanukkah goes like this. See if I can find it. Hanukkah, a rabbinic Jewish festival commemorating the recovery of Jerusalem and subsequent rededication of the Second Temple following the Jewish Maccabean revolt against the Seleucid Empire in the 2nd century BCE. Okay? Hanukkah is observed for 8 nights and days, starting with the 25th day of Kislev, according to the Hebrew calendar, which may occur at any time from November the 28th to December the 27th in the Gregorian calendar, the Dragon calendar. is the Gregorian calendar. I've talked about that. The festival observed by lighting the candles of the candelabrum with 9 branches, commonly called a menorah or a Hanukkah. One branch is placed above or below the others, and its candles are used to light the other 8 candles. This unique candle is called a shamash. Each night, one additional candle is lit by the shamash until all the 8 candles are lit together on the final night of the festival. This is the only Jewish holiday to begin in one month Kislev and end in another Tevet on the Hebrew calendar. So it is commemorating the defeating of Antiochus IV, the Seleucid king. But you see, folks, how do I say this? To celebrate that is not enough. Because you see what just happened. No, we want and desire more. What are we looking for? Well, we will continue in Haggai 2. So, Haggai goes on to correct the people, teach them correctly, and the priests, the Kohen. But when we go down here, in verse 18, put in place from this day and upward. It also means forward, because it comes from upward. See, forward, right here. Because this comes from upward. Okay? So set that day. What day is that? The 24th day of the 9th month. The day that the foundation of Yehovah's temple was laid, set that day. How many times does he have to say, set that day before we set that day? Well, the Christians do not set that day, so they don't believe in salvation. Muslims do not set that day. They don't believe in salvation. He says right here, with the seed in the barn, and the pomegranates and the olive trees, on that day, I will bless you. That's the day. That's the day we're looking for. What time of the year is it? It's winter time. It's when snow is on Zalmon, Mount Ebal, and surrounding mountains. Again, the word of Yehovah came unto Haggai in the 24th day of the month, saying, Speak to Zerubbabel, governor of Yehuda, and say, I will shake the heavens and the earth, and overthrow the throne of kingdoms. That's right. We know it's going to be in wintertime. We know there's going to be snow on Mount Ebal and surrounding mountains, and in Bashan. And I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the Gentiles. I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them. Merkava, chariot. And the horses, the word horse is also a warbird. A flying, rapid flying bird. That would be a warbird. And their riders shall come down every one by the sword of his brother. In that day, says Yehovah of hosts, I will take you, Zerubbabel, my servant, the son of Shealtiel, says Yehovah, and I will make you a sign. What kind of sign is that? Zerubbabel, his name, means begotten in Babylon. Come out of her, my people, You see, right here, it's in Jeremiah 51:45. I wonder if I can do this, or if it will let me. Probably not. Nope. Okay. We'll go ahead and go to Revelation 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from the sky saying, "Come out of her, my people." Who is his people? The Jews. "And be you not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto the sky, and not God, but Yehovah has remembered her iniquities. Reward her, do unto her exactly as she did unto you." What did she do unto you? Well, made you targets. "And double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup that she has filled, fill hers double. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give to her. For she says in her heart, I sit as a queen, and am no widow, and I see no sorrow. Therefore her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, famine, and she will be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yehovah Elohim, who judges her." All right? Now you know what Hanukkah really is. Now you know that Zionism and salvation are two words, same meaning. You cannot have one without the other. So, hopefully you have gained some more understanding and knowledge, and preparing yourself for the salvation of Israel that is to come.